Yeah, this is a whopper. Vincent Trocheck is going to the New York Rangers, number 12 on our Daily Faceoff top 75 free agents available. A 7-year deal has been agreed to terms to play down the middle on Broadway with the New York Rangers, who went to the Eastern Conference final this year. So, some heavy lifting from New York. Details forthcoming on an AAV. I would suspect something in the neighborhood of a $5 million AAV yet to be determined. So we will keep you posted. But Vincent Trocheck, big name off the board, going to New York.
Very interesting stuff as we take a look at our sort of top 10 here. Vincent Trocheck, very high on our list over at Daily Faceoff. He gets a long-term deal to go to Broadway, as Frank is reporting, 7 years for Vincent Trocheck. That's a team who some people were wondering if maybe they would have interest in a guy like Nazem Kadri. Here, this would obviously take them out of the Kadri runnings, but they go get former Canes forward Vincent Trocheck. He was also linked to Pittsburgh before they went back to the Evgeny Malkin route. Let's go back to our main panel for this one here with McKenna and Burnside and get some reaction to the Vincent Trocheck signing. Scott, he's a guy you would have seen closely out in Carolina. Maybe tell Rangers fans what they're getting in Vincent Trocheck.
Yeah, listen. Vincent Trocheck is a good hockey player, and he's got lots of great skill, and I think he'll fit in fine there. I'm curious to see, as Frank mentioned, the details to come in on what that dollar looks like, and I know that that will take some work by Chris Drury, the GM, to make that fit because there are a lot of moving pieces to that young Ranger team. So does that mean somebody else is going, or what are the ripple effects for the Ranger lineup? But Vincent Trocheck's going to fit well there. I'll only say this. When the Canes needed goals in that series against the New York Rangers, a lot of their big guys didn't or couldn't deliver, and Vincent Trocheck was one of them. And he's a guy that I think sometimes he takes bad penalties. He's a guy that I think sometimes you have to, he needs to be reminded where his focus needs to be. And I think that will be something that Gerard Gallant, I'm sure, will be looking at. They're a team that plays with great pace and great speed, and Trocheck fits the bill there. He's a great forechecking forward. He's going to, the expectations are no different in New York, maybe even greater now than they were in Carolina. So the expectations are, you're going to have to bring it every night. You're going to have to deliver the goods. And especially with the term on that deal, I'm fascinated to see how Vincent Trocheck is going to respond to a much, much bigger market and much, much higher expectations than he faced in Carolina. Maybe he thrives under those situations, but that's something that I'll be very curious to see how that unfolds, because it's certainly a different world he's about to enter.
Vincent Trocheck just turned 29 years old 2 days ago. So a nice birthday present, or belated birthday present, for Vincent Trocheck, who will be 36 when this contract expires. He's coming off a season that saw him score 21 goals in 81 games with the Carolina Hurricanes. Mike, your thoughts on the Rangers going from Zibanejad Strome down the middle to now Zibanejad Trocheck? I mean, obviously we're waiting for the money on this, but how much better of a team are they after this move?
I'm not sure how much better. I'm just not sure where the dollars figured out for Strome previous to this to cause it to happen. I like the way Trocheck skates and forechecks, and I like the fact that he's pretty creative with the puck. But here's the thing that I really like. There's past history there. Gerard Gallant, he had Vincent Trocheck as a Florida Panther. And there's no chance Gerard Gallant's going to let this deal go through if he doesn't want Vincent Trocheck or really appreciate who he is and what he does, and if Gallant doesn't have a really good idea of how to best utilize this player. And that's important to me, more than the dollars, more than anything else. 7 years is a really big commitment. But I think when you look at the Rangers and some of the surrounding parts there, the players you expect to take strides, Trocheck's a sum of the parts here, man. You're not bringing him in to change the world. You're bringing him in to fit into the ethos of that team, to bring up some of those line mates, to hopefully see Alexis Lafreniere play alongside him at some point. So I think the term is the one portion of this deal that's interesting. Until we see the dollars, it'll be hard to grade it. But I think Trocheck's going to fit very well with that club in New York.
Let's stay out east and talk a little bit about that Vincent Trocheck deal. I mean, the guy gets the bag, a reported $5.625 million cap hit on that 7-year deal as well. He'll slide into that sort of Ryan Strome spot, likely on the Rangers' second line with a guy like Artemi Panarin. He works hard, but this is, for me at least on the surface, this is a very long-term deal for a 29-year-old at a pretty high cap hit as well. He only scored 21 goals last season. I'm looking at this and going, This might be one of those that we look back at in, maybe not years 1 or 2, but years 4 and 5 and kind of go like, ooh, that's maybe a little bit rich. What are your thoughts on the Trocheck deal?
Yeah, I hear you, and I agree. I mean, it's one of those deals where you're like, you really hope that it works out on the front end to justify what you may be dealing with on the back end in the last couple of years, because obviously that's a lot of term, and the money is not super bad. It seems to be market value at the front. It could look pretty bad in about 5 years. I like Vinny Trocheck as a player. I think he makes the Rangers tougher to play against. I think that it's an upgrade at that position in an area of need. And so I think that he's going to thrive on that team. But again, he has to do quite a bit on the front end of the deal, because I think that most of us are expecting that it's not going to age super well once you get to the latter end.
Matt, a 7-year deal for Vincent Trocheck, one of the big names off the board here in NHL free agency. What are your thoughts on this signing?
Well, Tyler, I do think that Pete hit the nail on the head there, and that the Rangers, I don't think they're worrying too much about how the contract's going to age. They are fresh Eastern Conference finalists. They know they're major Stanley Cup contenders. They have Adam Fox in his prime, Artemi Panarin in his prime, Igor Shesterkin fresh off the Vezina Trophy. They're very much going for it. And I do think Vincent Trocheck can be a big part of what they're doing for the next few seasons. He's a very well-rounded player. He can win faceoffs. He's quite physical. He takes a lot of pride in that. I interviewed him for Daily Faceoff a couple months ago. He likes that physical game. He likes to mix it up, and it fits in with the culture that Chris Drury's been building, bringing in Ryan Reeves, Barclay Goodrow, guys like that last year, Sammy Blais, who got hurt, of course. And I think that's sort of what the Rangers are trying to build. They're trying to be a harder team to play against. They want to get over the hump and reach the Stanley Cup final. And Trocheck as well, he likes to agitate. He likes to mix it up. He's sort of a poor man's Brad Marchand in that way. We know, of course, they had the feud during the regular season. So he's someone who I think his game is tailored especially to playoff action. So to me, the message there is that the Rangers are thinking about contending. They're thinking about trying to get over the hump and go all the way. And even just offensively, of course, Vincent Trocheck, he hasn't quite been the same player since he had that really horrible broken leg a couple years back, but he's still capable of chipping in 20 goals, 50-plus points, while doing so many other good things around the ice.